How's it going, everyone? And welcome once again to another episode of Animal Talk Podcast in collaboration with SAAKA, the South African Animal Keepers Association. My name is Ryne. And yes, it sounds a bit different again. I am kind of by myself, but not exactly. My co-host is not joining me for this recording. He's a little bit busy at the moment, so we're going to be doing this recording, but do have a guest, and I'm very excited about the guest because at least I'm not talking to myself. And my guest is a very important person to me because, as some of you may know, I am the president of SAAKA, and every president needs a vice president. And the guest we're having is my vice president, also running Shape Africa, which is an enrichment group, and then also my sidekick in pretty much everything. So joining us is Robynn Ingle-Möller.
Hello there, everyone. How are you? Hi, Ryan. Nice to be on your podcast.
Thanks so much for making the time and joining us. It's good to hear you again, seeing as though we don't talk very much, right?
Like as in, no, never.
Exactly. Well, thanks very much for joining. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about enrichment. But before we get cracking on with that, I have a very important question for every single guest that comes on the podcast. And that is, what is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is every animal I've ever worked with. But currently, my favorite animal is a little red lorikeet. And that is my shadow and best friend.
And that is a very noisy best friend.
It's a very, very noisy best friend.
With a sharp beak.
A very sharp beak.
Well, at least we're colorful, so got that going for it.
Indeed.
That's awesome. Great little guy, and of course they come from Australia, and yeah, that's such a cool little bird. I'm sure a lot of people get to see them at a lot of facilities. Quite a few facilities have lorikeet feeding, so that is such a cool little guy. Alrighty, well, let's get kicking on into what we are going to be talking about. So before we get into the crux of everything, maybe you need to just I gave a little bit of a brief intro, but maybe a bit of more of an intro of what you do and what is Shape Africa.
Oh, all right. So what do I do? Well, I'm currently working at Laurie Park Zoo as the reptile keeper. And absolutely love it. Zookeeping is one of the best professions on the planet. The mischief and the mayhem and the excitement we do on a daily basis is amazing. And Shape Africa was born from that. So I don't know if you remember Valerie Hare.
Yes, indeed.
Valerie Hare was an absolute icon. And she visited South Africa many, many times. She came and did workshops. She did activities and events. And in 2007, we were walking down the road one day and we started chatting. And she says she wants enrichment to be more hands-on and active in countries around the world. She can't travel like she used to. And so we came up with the idea of branches. So Shape Africa was born from that conversation. And so now Shape Africa is responsible for helping promote enrichment by being hands-on activity-based. So going to facilities, inviting facilities to join us and just getting up to mischief building and getting hands-on with our enrichment.
That's amazing. And of course, enrichment is so vitally important for our animals' welfare and well-being, especially in our captive situation. So yeah, enrichment plays a very big part in most facilities. So I'm sure everybody is very excited about hearing a little bit more. But Shape Africa came from Shape itself. And what was Shape's main target to get people involved with Shape?
Well, the Shape of enrichment was born in the early 1990s by a variety of well-known people in the industry. So Valerie Hare, Dr. David Shepardson, Jill Mellon, Karen Worley, and the like. And they got together and they said, we need to have some kind of get-together because enrichment wasn't really a subject. Globally, it was mentioned. It was there on the cusp of it needs to be done. It needs to be thought about. But it really wasn't part of what it is like it is today, where it's integrated, like you said. It's part of what we do. But back then it wasn't. And so the Shape of Enrichment was born. And it was there to promote making enrichment. So, it's easy to say we do enrichment and we apply enrichment, but actually building it and actually putting it together and how to put it into the exhibits. So from safety point of view, from a welfare point of view, from, just from the animal's perspective, it's so important to understand what the animal needs. And that's where, Spider comes in and using the Spider framework, which was also something that was born and created and generated in the 1990s.
Yeah, it's amazing how important enrichment is, and also how you kind of got to wrap your head around making sure that even if you're getting excited about building an enrichment device, that it needs to be safe and
Yes.
also needs to be able to work properly. And I'm sure a lot of people go through a lot of things where they're like, oh, let's try this and let's do this. But it's all part of the parcel of just trying to see if everything works. And I think something that's also really important is if you're going to give your animals enrichment, make sure that you're watching them, because I think some people think they can just dump enrichment in and walk away and hope that it does something. It's important to watch because you need to know, do they interact with it? Do they use it for a certain period of time? And are there any problems with it? Do they maybe get themselves stuck slightly or anything like that? Because that helps you build your next set of enrichment. So those are all really important things to think about.
No, absolutely. And especially when it comes to the animal itself, let's say we've got a pink unicorn. It might be a young unicorn. It might be an old unicorn. It might have 3 legs. You've got to think about its diet. You've got to worry about its disabilities. And then, of course, the animal's experience. And that's where, much of what today's study comes into play. Everybody's talking about emotion. Everybody's talking about the animals and how they interpret their world. And that's where enrichment can really help zookeepers and vets and technicians and educators and animal trainers. Enrichment is just such a beautiful tool in the toolbox that we have.
Yes, and everybody, even unicorns, need enrichment.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it really is such everybody thinks enrichment is difficult. It's actually quite easy. It really is. Even if we say, for example, we'll use the obligatory ball, we give the lion a ball. We as a human species think, oh, this is great. But from the lion's point of view, it might be a bit boring. But let's say, for example, there's a caracal next door, the exhibit. He's like, oh, there's a ball. And I can, look at it. There's at Glory Park Zoo, we've got airplanes that fly over ahead. We've got a local airport next door. And the meerkats absolutely love watching them fly by. And it's actually quite funny because how meerkats like to do their sentry duty?
Of course, yes.
So they're like, whoa, there's an airplane. So,
Is it an aeroplane? Is it a bird? Is it an eagle? No,
yes.
It is Lufthansa.
That's lovely. No, enrichment can be extremely subtle as well. Working with reptiles, many people think you can't enrich a reptile. That's absolutely not true. They are incredibly inquisitive about anything we put inside their exhibit.
100%.
Especially if they're temperature right and, everything is at the optimum level. They are curious about their world.
For sure. Every animal is. And we've chatted in length sometimes about reptiles being left behind when it comes to most things. So I'm glad you brought that up because reptiles are still part of our collections and they still need enrichment and welfare. So it's very, very important. But something even more exciting, because I don't know if you've all noticed, but Robynn gets very excited when we talk about enrichment because that's her thing. But we have a workshop coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that workshop?
Absolutely. It's in August. So that's right around the corner. It is on the 18th and 19th of August at Glory Park Zoo. It's a 2-day workshop. It's in collaboration with Mira. So Karen Pina and myself will be doing it. And it's focusing on how animals have biases. So, what is a bias and how does it affect our animals? And using enrichment to try and encourage confidence in our animal collection. So animals get scared around things and we need to acknowledge what that fear might be and how we can use enrichment as a tool to assist us in decreasing fear, aggression, submission, dominance, all the various things that play a role in an animal's life. So we're going to be having fun at Laurie Park Zoo on the 18th and 19th of August.
Perfect. Yeah, that's going to be exciting, and really looking forward to being there and seeing how everything runs. So if you are interested in attending the workshop, it's pretty easy to get yourself on that workshop. Robynn, do you want to explain exactly how they can do that?
Sure thing. Well, they're welcome to go directly to the Shape Africa website. So it's shapeafrica.co.za. And then you can go to the shop, and there is our little ad there. You're welcome to click on it, and it'll give you all the details. It's 500 Rand for the 2 days. And if you need accommodation, there is an option to stay on property at Laurie Park Zoo in our bunk bed style accommodation.
Perfect. And what we'll do is I'll link that information down at the bottom of the description of this podcast. So if you can't remember what we just chatted about, you can just pop in there, click on that, and go through and have a look. And hopefully we get to see you there.
Yes.
And also we can chat a little bit about SAAKA, because you and I kind of sit pretty much on the committee.
Side by side.
Yeah. So how do you feel about SAAKA? What's your drive with SAAKA?
What's my drive? Zookeepers, I think, are one of my favorite animals, other than the red lorikeet.
I'm going to come dressed as a red lorikeet so that I make sure that you're happy with me all the time.
No, SAAKA is a very important little organization, and I think it's something that animal care providers and animal caregivers, whether they be people working at a stable, whether they're people working in a laboratory, a farm, a zoo, a sanctuary, even your pet owners, people who work with animals and they care for them. We have so much knowledge as a group, and that's what SAAKA is about. We want to be able to create a network where we can all talk to each other. We also have opportunities that we can share, and that's what you and I are keen about, keeper exchanges. If somebody wants to go visit a facility or do a hands-on, visitation at the unicorn exhibit or the blue whale, learn about their diet and go meet the people, and it's sharing. And next year, SAAKA are going to be hosting their first conference, venue still to be decided, but I'm excited. And our current membership now,
exciting times,
is going up. And I'm very excited to know what our numbers are. Do you know what our numbers are?
We are currently on paid members at 68.
68 members. And we've only been, how old are we now? We're like 2 years of age?
2 years, yeah.
2 years. We're a young association. And now we just need to get the ball rolling and have workshops, have conferences, have symposiums, do keeper exchanges, and also encourage the creature credits, because that's how we're going to acknowledge our members.
I'm so glad you brought up creature credits, because that needs to be sort of explained a little bit. Maybe, you were part of the development of creature credits. I was kind of just watching from the backdrop, being able to work around it and work in it. But you can tell a little bit more about how creature credit works and how people can get involved with that.
Certainly. Well, many associations around the world have methods of rewarding and acknowledging their membership. Creature credits is our system. So when you become a member of SAAKA, you have access to a particular part of the website where you can actually acknowledge your activities and the things you've done. So Ryan, if you flew to Mars, you can log that as done, and we can acknowledge you for achieving that goal.
That's my next thing to do. Yep, I'm on it.
There we go. Yeah. So if you've done, I'm visiting Australia in October, so I might have the opportunity to go and visit some facilities, and perhaps I could log that as an activity on creature credits. If I write a scientific report, I can log that on creature credits. If I do a keeper exchange, I can log that on creature credits.
Ooh, what happens if I go to an enrichment workshop?
Ta-da! You see, you can log that on creature credits.
Perfect.
Yes. So all the various activities that Shape Africa does, that you do through Animal Talk. So I can go onto my creature credits now and I can tick that I did an interview on Animal Talk.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah. So if you guys want to be on Animal Talk podcast, you can log that as a creature credit. So that's very cool.
Indeed. And yeah, so it was a big project that was done, and a big thank you to Tim at SeaWorld, who did some work on it and helped push and direct some of the activities. And a big thank you to Don Ingle, our software guru, who went over and beyond and did all the behind the scenes stuff, which none of us see, but all of us need.
Yeah, he's also our sort of sidekick on IT, especially when some of us are struggling to get onto a podcast. He kind of helps out with that too, right?
Indeed, he does.
Yeah, so a big thank you to all the people involved, Don, Robyn, Tim, all of you have done an amazing job at getting that sorted and making sure that it's running. And if you're not a member of SAAKA, you can't do creature credits. So you have to become a member of SAAKA so that you can see how that all works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's another course coming up. It's an animal husbandry course from Wild Welfare.
Yeah, that's very exciting. That's going to be in September, and that's on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So it's a 4-day course. As we know, Wild Welfare has this wonderful online course that they provide online for free. And they're actually coming to South Africa to do it hands-on. So bum and seat, looking at the projector, looking at the information, and having 2 specialists in front of us giving us direction on the modules that they have developed over the years.
Yeah, very exciting. So it's going to be covering enrichment, design, welfare assessments, welfare concepts, nutrition, health, record keeping, behavior. So that's all really, really exciting. So if you are wanting to book for that, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is go to the SAAKA website, which, by the way, you can book for all of these workshops also through SAAKA. So if you forget about how you can get onto the other ones, you will see it under events in SAAKA. So you just log on to saaka.org.za, click on events, and you can scroll through all the different workshops and courses that are going to be up and coming for the time being. So I'll link that in the bottom of the description of this podcast, and it'll also be on our social media.
Great stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. They're going to go through sort of the basics of what is welfare, they're going to talk about nutrition. They're going to be talking about exhibit design. We're going to have an element of environmental enrichment within it. We're going to be doing all sorts of elements, like how do you do body scoring? How do you look at an animal from the outside and judge whether it's doing well or not?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's going to be good.
Yeah, and if you're not sure where the venue is, it's Laurie Park Zoo again.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's also, and there is a cutoff date and closing date for you to book, which is the 31st of August. And if you are a SAAKA member, this is very important. If you're a SAAKA member, you get a discounted rate. So if you're not a SAAKA member, then you have to pay the full rate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
I know, dreadful, huh?
Guess you'll have to be a SAAKA member.
Uh-huh.
So let's quickly jump back to enrichment. I'm sure there's some really cool information about enrichment that you could end the podcast recording off with and go.
So enrichment is a valuable tool for all of us. We all provide the correct things. We provide food, we provide shelter, but it's also important for us to provide psychological and physical welfare. And that is where enrichment comes into play. So it's really up to us. And I love what I do. I love seeing my animals react to things that I offer them. I love watching my animals build confidence as they grow with their enrichment objects. And it's just really about loving what we do. And that's really what enrichment is all about. Just enjoying life and living with our creatures beside us as we go about our daily activities, working for them and with them.
And don't forget, as an animal care professional, making enrichment becomes enriching for you.
It does indeed.
I think Robynn fulfills a very enriched life with all the enrichment she makes on a regular basis. It's a lot of fun to build stuff and think about how it's going to work, and then you kind of watch, and the animal does the completely opposite thing that you expected it to do, and you're like, right, we'll write that down and go back to the drawing board.
Yes, you came to visit the other day at Laurie Park Zoo when some of the enrichment was going down.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time getting to see how animals react to those different things. It was a lot of fun. But if you guys are interested in getting to know a little bit more about Animal Talk podcast, or even have a question for Robynn, you're more than welcome to send us an email at animal.talk201@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to pass over those questions to Robynn if you have any questions about Shape Africa or enrichment or anything like that. If you want to know a little bit more from Animal Talk podcast, we're on all the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we're on YouTube. Our handle is Animal Talk podcast _ZA. And please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very important because it really does help the algorithm push our podcasts to a lot more people. And we really like them to hear what people have to say and to learn from our podcast. So it really does help if you subscribe, like, tag, comment. It really does help our podcast out. If you'd like to know a little bit more about SAAKA, the South African Animal Keepers Association, under all of our podcasts, we have a link in the description where you can click on and get to know a little bit more about SAAKA. And again, don't forget, there is a enrichment workshop coming up very shortly in August, and we also have that link down the bottom so that you can click on that and hopefully join us, and we hope to see you there. But from myself, as I always say, animals are our passion. Thanks, Robynn. Thanks very much for joining us. Bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Sorry, I had to cut my mic there because I had a cat crawling down from a wall onto the floor and about to go gong, and everything would have made a noise.
Well,
and
that's perfect enrichment right there for Ryan Ferguson, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
No, you. Shoot,
go for it. Continue. No, you.
No, you. You. No, it's fine.